Hello friends, at last it has come, the correction. The correction almost everybody has waited for. We always say the correction becomes the stability, becomes the structural balance to the markets. If you look at the last year February 1st, it was the lowest of that entire year. It was below 8,000. Ultimately, market is rallying to the all-time high. So it is a demonetization, it is budget, it is surgical strike, it is the Trump, it is the Brexit. Always brought that balance. That balance allowed us to get into that value stocks which is already then subsequently rallied, and it made us to get the higher returns. So naturally, we have the reason to feel happy when correction has come. If a correction is not coming, if it is extending continuously the rallies, then we will have a big disaster in the offing. At last, it has come. The budget is the event. It has brought the correction. What budget has brought? Let us make it, there are so many things in budget, but let us make it very simple and specific to that retail investors' perspective. It is a rural welfare focused, friends. It is a free LPG scheme and rural welfare and national health program, and also infrastructure development, particularly in terms of fisheries and aquaculture. There were certain people are complaining, oh, it is a rural focused and not much for that middle class people or salaried people. See, when correction happened on Friday, BJP lost few of the constituencies in Rajasthan. What happens if a government loses the general election? Market has to face that bigger correction. So rural economy also has to be vibrant because that our country is that full of rural areas, and also it is for the government has to win the elections. Then only market also will have the stability. Taxation, particularly for the retail investors, it is a negligible benefit for the salaried class. And most important aspect, everybody what they discuss about is long-term capital gain tax on equities. And another one more thing which is impacting the retail investors and salaried class, middle class is 10% tax on dividend distributing equity mutual funds on whatever dividend they distribute. Let us discuss it here. This long-term capital gains, what is that? Is it really our retail investors has to worry about? I don't think so, friends. This country is, people are having such a huge wealth, either it's Rakesh Jindal or anybody. So they create such a huge wealth from the market, ultimately they don't pay the tax because simply they are holding it for the 1 year. What happens if your retail investors are holding it for more than 1 year? Friends, it will be anything between 0.5 to 1% CAGR only will get affected. If you are having a 31%, then you will get 30% CAGR. See, you are ultimately, you will be paying the tax from the profit. So when you will make the profit, the economy should be strong. For the economy should be strong, inflation level should be lower and rating should go up. For that, your deficit level should be lower. To make it deficit level lower, the government should bring the income. From where income will come? So they have to find the ways and means of the income. Whereas similarly, to remain in the power and to make the rural economy push and infrastructure push, they have to spend the money in railways and they have to spend the money in things like law, healthcare and etc. So when it's a rural economy develops and deficit is less, then inflation comes down. If a possible interest rate coming down, then what happens is our market will be in the roll. If our market is in the roll, then our rating subsequently will go up. Then our whatever stocks we purchase those prices will go up and we will get the benefit. Ultimately, the performance of the companies has to go up. We should not grumble about something of a 0.5% or 1%. Let us make money and pay the tax out of it. So it is a government job to make economy to do well. That is what is more important. So I don't think so. Long capital gain tax is whatever it is having is the short-term issues as usual. This is the opportunity for us. 10% on dividend, that is something we have to think about. So it makes definitely mutual fund, particularly dividend paying mutual funds are attractive. This is something our retail investors has to think about. Let us come to the point. What is the market in short term? In my view, in my understanding, in my analysis, Nifty is going to be 10,500 to the 11,000. It may be 11,000 or not, but there is a possibility of 10,500. There may be one day which goes up to 10,400 also, but more likely range is going to be anything between 10,500 to 10,700 till 31st March. Because government has given that window to book that long capital gains profit as per the old act till 31st March. So definitely up to 31st March, we can expect this range. Market is not going to be in a hurry to reach that new highs or whatever it is. But friends, you must have noticed economy is expected to grow up to the 7% of GDP. If it goes that much, individual companies will put a growth anything between 15 to 50%. It depends upon the size of the company, the industry they are in. It is for us to find out the companies which are attractively valued and the companies which is having the headroom to grow. But saying that, small crafts, further it can correct up to 5 to 10%. Some stocks it may not correct, some stocks it may correct to 20% also. But in the range, average range of 5 to 10%. There is nothing to worry about it, even if you are holding a stock in higher prices. What happens? If you purchased after the last budget, you are having anything between 40 to 100% as on January 1st. From that level, you are corrected. So you are going to buy again. You are going to save and you are going to buy again. If you buy now and you are going to have, again I'm telling you, at least 30% in 12 to 18 months. What happens? Even your 70-80%, if it's cut by 60%, then again it is a 30-40%, it becomes 100%. It is a basic of a stock market. You have to remain invested and you have to look for the value place. Let us focus on this point. What is to be done? Friends, I am repeating it many times in our WhatsApp groups, in my videos, in my conversation with the investors. So the structure is disturbed. Now there is a bearish approach. Clean your portfolio. Because when stock market corrects, it corrects for the good stock, bad stocks, value stock or no value stock or everything. So please look at your portfolio. Friends, I am getting a portfolios with 100 stocks and all. You need only 12, 13 stocks. Please correct it. One theme, one sector and one stock. Have a allocation anything between 6 to 10%. You need 12 to 13 stocks to optimize your returns. I will make a separate video on particularly on this technique, but this is the time. You won't be having the time. Correct it, your portfolio. It is my personal view. People will be having a different view. If you are absorb that ability, either to do it yourself or through somebody, investing in direct equity rather than investing through the mutual fund, because government action is relatively against mutual funds as of now. Identify the themes. So I'll tell you what are the themes we in Asset Tripler identified. Invest gradually because there is no hurry. You have the time up to March. But invest it gradually. Suppose you are having some money to invest in one particular stock. You decided to invest 8%. You look at a stock because some stocks it may not correct further. You may invest one day in 2%, another day is a 2%, whenever it falls. Spread your investment. If it is a good stock, after some time, even if it goes up, but not to that level of before January 31st, still you better invest. You do your research. So you make it your average is reasonable to make that higher returns and 30% CAGR. We used to have a long-term strategy only. If you are an experienced investor, you should have some short-term strategy also. But otherwise, better to remain with a long-term strategy because there are the ways and means to have some short-term strategy because simple thing for a 15% tax on short-term gains and 10% on long-term gains. So little bit anomaly is there. To make something value out of it, we have to supposed to have a short-term strategy also. Focus on capital efficiency. It is the most important thing. See, if you are running a business, how you are rotating stock, it is very important. Similarly, your investment, your capital is limited. How you are rotating that money, it is a very, very important, friends. So, you are invested in a stock that given the return, that money, you have to take it out. Suppose if that stock is not going to appreciate to that substantial level for another 12 to 18 months or 24 months. So, meanwhile, you take out the money, either you keep it in the form of a debt or if you identify the very good opportunity, either for a short term or long term, you have to use that money in a proper way. So, because of all these tax rates and environmental changes, one has to very, very efficiently manage their capital. That is going to be very important. I was talking about the themes. What are the themes? Let us talk about the themes here. You must have seen in a budget is talking about healthcare in detail. So our theme number 1 is the healthcare. Look for your businesses. It may be the hospital or it may be the business of the health insurance and look for a company which is having the headroom to grow that kind of the business, but it should be connected with the healthcare. 2. We were talking about this rural consumption even my previous videos also. It is going to be continuously that way regardless of the governments. The rural consumption is very important. There are so many sectors connected with the rural consumption, agri production or vehicles or retail, anything, but identify and research something substantially connected with the rural consumption, get benefit out of it. Commercial property, nowadays residential property is not attractive. We found out commercial property is the theme which will work on this 2018 media. So we should not forget, we were such a high year in 2017. We should not something hanging over on what is that happened in budget or long capital gains tax, etc. We have to remember our base was higher. That is the main reason. Market was looking for a reason to correct. That is the basic. So we need to have certain defensive sector also. Even healthcare is the defensive sector. Even part of the healthcare, one can think about a pharma, mid-cap or small-cap pharma, which is not impacted by US FDA. Similarly, media, when consumption increases, that media also is one of the important things. Consumer durable, you have to look at the consumer durable, which is better cash rich, and it's more on domestic consumption, which is not relying on anything on imports, because you know lot of import duties levied, particularly on mobile phones or a television panel are imported. So you have to look for that kind of the thing. Either for the rural or based on a commercial vehicle sales pickup or whatever it is, auto industry is definitely on the growth. If you are looking for a small or mid-cap auto ancillary units, definitely it will grow. Look for the valuation, look for the debt level and go for it. Affordable housing definitely continuously will remain as a theme. Look for a affordable housing builder or a building material or that housing finance people, whoever is doing the finance. That is the theme will work out in coming days. That bankruptcy code, which is that banks are from April onwards are going to have a resolution on these companies which are targeted for the takeover. So look for those companies. Those companies are available on attractive prices now. Digital application, you have to look for a company which is that good in a digital application and which is likely to grow, and that kind of the company also, it will give a stability to your portfolio. And brokerage and financial services. See, the brokerage is not going to come down. Actually, we see that even trading will increase. So it should not be only a brokerage. You have to look for a company which is having other financial services along with the brokerages. Let us look for that a company. Chemical industry definitely on the roll for some time. So look for a specialty chemicals or fertilizers or combination of that kind of the company to make your portfolio. I identified my theme. I cleaned up my portfolio. So what is to be done? What is the strategy as a retail investor I will do? Long term is always mantra. That is your core portfolio. If you have a sufficient experience, if you understand what is the short term, if you understand the word capital efficiency or capital rotation, then have some relatively smaller short-term portfolio also. That will give you rotation of your capital and will optimize your returns. Friends, I will assure you 30% CAGR would be achieved. No way the capital market, Indian market become unattractive. Corrections are required. Only corrections only will make the markets again and again and attractive. Always look at what is the money you are invested, what is that company is doing, what is the time frame you are looking at some corporate action or some capacity expansion or better returns are expected from that company. Or if it is not going to happen in 1 year or 18 months in bigger way, then think about shuffling from that company to either to a long-term strategy or short-term strategy. Friends, our focus is on investor education. But same time, we are a equity advisory firm. We have a hand-holding approach with the investors. Last time I was talking about our subscription model, which is that offline PMS and as well as our PMS services. After the budget, after the lot of thought, I designed short-term services also. The short-term services, it will look like a typical standard short-term services, but it is not. I'm going to put one more video, possibly tomorrow. That video, how one has to allocate, what is the kind of the capital one has to allocate for the short-term portfolio. Out of that short-term capital, how we are going to manage for the index, for the positional strategies and option strategies. There is a lot of disciplines to be built in. Those disciplines will ensure your profitable returns. So wait for that video. This is futures. We are having two products. One is that futures and option. So there will be an index and Nifty and Bank Nifty and positional stock future and optional strategies. Another thing, purely in a cash portfolio. This is also the mid cap and small caps and as well as the large caps. It is either result to result play, or it is a stock which is corrected but likely to bounce back, or it is a special situation stock. We will be giving those calls which can give you 10% to 30%. But there will be the churning. I don't think so we are going to keep any stock for a 1 year. So you will be paying a 15% tax, but your returns are reasonable because of your capital is continuously rotated. The charges are given. It is for the 2 months, it is a 10,000, and 6 months, it is 20,000. For 1 year, it is 30,000, and 20% discount is applicable. There is a combo product also, combining both the cash and future and option. When we are combining your both the things, we will be treating it as an offline PMS. We will be reviewing that complete data from you, and we will ensure that you are getting that kind of a return. We discussed about the subscription model and offline services. It is absolutely a long term. Like we'll be giving a 10 to 12 stocks, but communication is a daily to ensure that you are buying in the right price and right quantity and taking advantage of the correction, not to do anything wrong when market goes higher. Because in the retail investors, their mistakes mainly in terms of number of stocks, allocation, and buying in right quantity and buying in the right stock most of the time. So they are got into the negative way. So we will ensure that regular monthly review, and we will ensure 30% CAGR. So we already discussed about what is the cost for it, but here not only we are doing the 20% discount, we would be giving 1 month free trial for the short-term services also for this month onwards. PMS services, which we can ensure it's a very attractive, where the arrangement between us and investors absolutely taking care of investor protection, one, and ensuring higher returns. Also, if investor prefers, we will be combining both short-term and long-term, all the products together. We will strive for the very, very attractive returns, 30% plus CAGR. It is a profit sharing basis. All other discussion we can discuss through WhatsApp, email, or telephone call to understand this product. Friends, again I'm saying we are interested in your education. We are interested in discipline in portfolio management techniques. We want to make more educational videos in all Indian languages. Please subscribe to that Asset Tripler channel and please comment on that and tell us what is the kind of the content you require, and tell me about the subjects which we have to address. So we will be in a position to address all your queries and to put the videos accordingly. So also please visit us at Quora, visit our Facebook, and send your request to join in our WhatsApp group for both short term and long term. Thank you very much, and we will see you tomorrow with the next video.